Hello there. A report by the EU Parliament Agriculture Committee shows that there will be a £2.7 billion a year hole in the Common Agricultural Policy budget after Brexit. So who's being lined up to pay? Once the UK ceases to contribute to the EU coffers, the bloc will find its cap budget line £2.7 billion a year light. There are, of course, a number of ways the EU can deal with this, from cutting back on the programme to getting its member states to contribute more. And a member state's preferred option will, of course, be based on whether that state is a net contributor to the system or a net recipient, as well as how close they are to the cut-off line between the two. Now, if extra contributions to make up the difference are extrapolated from current levels and applied to member states on the basis of their gross national income, Germany would find itself hugely out of pocket, possibly having to pick up half the tab, with countries like the Netherlands, France, Sweden, Italy, Austria and Spain facing hefty bills too. The larger net recipient countries such as Poland, Greece, Romania, Spain, Hungary, Bulgaria and Ireland will definitely not want to see any reduction in what they receive. So the danger is that without the UK, the gap between net contributors and net receivers will increase. Not a good scenario for EU cohesion, one would conclude. According to Swedish MEP Peter Lundgren, the EU is always looking to keep the budget as it is and wants to cover the gap either with increased contributions or by introducing direct taxation of EU citizens. Let's think about this from a UK perspective for a moment though. The UK, as one of the net contributors, is paying about £2.7 billion a year into the cap and being forced to integrate politically with the EU just to be able to buy this food. I did a bit of digging around and found that in 2014 we bought £39.6 billion worth of food from the EU and sold them £18.8 billion worth. That's a net deficit of £20.8 billion. So by my rough calculations on a net basis, we are paying a levy of about 12% to buy that food. You do have to wonder what the World Trade Organization rules cost would be if the UK ran its own schedule of tariffs. Anyway, we now see the EU move into threat mode as it lashes out at the prospect of a no-deal Brexit. According to The Telegraph, one senior EU diplomat who is connected with the Brexit negotiations said, "This is pure fantasy. The idea of a no-deal deal completely fails to understand the EU or the fury that would result if the British leave without paying their bills. At that point, the EU wouldn't be looking to make a parachute for the UK. It will only be working out how to cut the strings." All I can say is that this further demonstrates how absolutely desperate the EU is to keep the conduit between the UK Treasury and the EU spending machine as wide open as possible. Moving on, Robert Peston, the former BBC business editor and now ITV News political editor, told LBC that he thought Brexiteers were on the right side of an important argument and on the right side of history. Although Peston backed Remain in the run-up to the referendum, he called the outcome a massive wake-up call to everybody, and also that he felt ashamed that he and the Remainers around him had been so out of touch with the millions of Leave voters. Talking about Brexit voters, he said, "I basically take my hat off to them, because they have thrown all the cards up in the air. They don't know yet how they're going to land, but it was the right thing to do." I personally think he's got the analogy wrong. What happened was that the Leave voters took firm grasp of the deck of cards that had been carefully loaded against them over the decades and threw it out of the window and replaced it with a bright, shiny new deck of Brexit cards. What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.